Hey, we back. I'm here on OwO Bot, and we have a new update. Update came out a couple of days ago, so apologies for being a little late on this one. Been a bit busy, but we're here now. We're going to talk about the update. There's a lot of new stuff. Starting off, we have the first announcement: OwO's anniversary event. This is the 5th anniversary of OwO Bot since it started in 2018. There's a lot of new stuff going on with the event. So firstly, as it says, new special pets available to hunt. That's standard for events. I believe there are 3 of these. Yeah, there we go. 3 special pets available, so that's pretty standard. We've got a standard special anniversary loot box. At least I hope this is going to be standard now. It's the same as the Valentine's one. So I say it's standard. Technically, this is only the 2nd time we've seen an item like this, but realistically, I think this is going to be the case for most events going forwards. I guess we'll find out. I might be proved wrong. But yeah, here we go. We get the loot boxes. You get them from battling and hunting as per normal loot boxes and weapon crates, and you can open them to find some limited time event goodies, which is the same as the Valentine's one: wallpapers, pets, stuff like that. If you want any more information on those, feel free to check out the Valentine's video. We also have some new stuff to battles, which we're going to be talking about today. Battle streaks are disabled until the event is over, because of course people want to be doing stuff with the new weapons, and I guess they don't want to be losing their streaks, which is pretty fair. Free to experiment with different combinations of teams and weapons without worrying about losing your streak, so that's all good. Then we have a quick FAQ. I'm not going to go through all of this stuff because most of it's pretty obvious. 3 presents per day as per normal weapon crates. Using present is just the use command, etc, etc. The important bits is the 3 special pets like we mentioned, and then we have the new weapons. So the Rune of Celebration and the Staff of Purity. Rune of Celebration is given only from anniversary presents, so make sure you get enough presents to get yourself a couple Runes of Celebration. Of course, we have rerolls, so you only need a couple, but it would be nice to have a couple. You can get them with a different passive, try and make sure you get a high quality one, etc, etc. This is the first limited weapon that we've had on the bot besides the rune before from the February 2019, I believe it was, when they changed the battle system. And so, funnily enough, it's another rune, which is kind of cool. But yes, so this is going to be limited. You can get more than one of them this time, at least I sure assume so, because you get them from the anniversary presents. So that's cool, but do make sure that you get one of these. This is very important, because regardless of whether the weapon's good or not, it is a limited time thing. You'll never get it again. And if it is a good weapon, then you're going to be real stuck not having one in the future. I know that the people that got good runes from the 2019 battle change could be doing really well, because if you've got a good rune like an epic or a mythic rune, it is probably the best weapon in the game. Not sure if Rune of Celebration is going to be that good. We'll see in a minute, I suppose. Then the Staff of Purity can be received from weapon crates, so nothing special about that. It's just a new weapon. Staff of Purity was available forever from weapon crates. Rune of Celebration from leftover anniversary presents after the event is over. So if you still have 1 or 2 of these after the event finishes, you can still get it, but you won't be able to get anniversary presents. So make sure you get those. What do the weapons do? It's got all the potential stats listed here, which is nice. So Staff of Purity costing 125 to 200 mana, so that's reasonably cheap, I suppose. Remove a buff from an enemy. If successful, deal 50 to 100% of your magic to them. I assume what this is saying is if the enemy has no buffs, it won't do any damage. Remove a debuff from an ally. If successful, heal 50% to 100% of your strength to them. Again, that means if you don't have a debuff on an ally, you won't be doing the healing. Now, I think this is probably the important bit, because you're doing the damage, and removing buffs from enemy is good. Removing debuffs from allies, that of course only works if your team takes a debuff, if the enemy team applies a debuff. It's nice to get this, but I think this is going to be the same case with the dagger, where it has 2 effects and mostly you want the first one. So this is probably going to be considered a magic weapon. Removing the debuff, of course, doesn't require strength, so it's still going to do this regardless. So I think this is going to be considered a magic weapon, but hey, prove me wrong. Healing is still good. this could be a monkey weapon, which is pretty cool since it uses magic and strength. Monkey always a bit of a meme hidden, having such equal amounts of magic and strength, and only really being able to use with rune. But yeah, you could use monkey with this too, but I think generally you're going to want high magic, so it's probably just going to be considered a magic weapon. Just initial opinions though. Moving on to the Rune of Celebration, mana 100 to 200, so that's even cheaper, which is pretty cool. And applies Celebration to a random ally for 3 turns. Celebration being an effect here, where at the end of every turn, heal 20 to 50% of your physical resistance as HP, and restore 15 to 40% of your magic resistance as weapon points. This is an effect that lasts for 3 turns, which is kind of fun. I guess that's a buff that Staff of Purity could be removing, so Staff of Purity is going to be really good against Rune of Celebration. Now this does last 3 turns, which is pretty cool, but that means that its cheap mana cost is kind of useless. You're just going to apply it to both of your 2 allies, and then the 3rd turn you do nothing. I don't know, seems meh. Then the Celebration itself, well, that's nice. You're doing some healing, restoring some mana points. Resistance is not the highest stat. It's never the highest stat. It's normally pretty low, in fact. But that might mean that this 50% limit is going to be 50% of your physical resistance is going to be not that much. So despite saying earlier about how if the new rune is OP, initial thoughts is that it's not OP. But I guess, we'll see if I'm proved wrong. Somebody is sure to do the maths on this and figure out if it's better than the current healing and the current mana restoration. I feel like say, Arcane Scepter is going to be better at this, and Healing Staff is going to be better at this. Of course, this does both of them, but equally you've got things like Mana Tap to sort that out. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We can dismantle and reroll them. However, dismantling a rune, it will not be restored. This is the old rune, which I believe you might be able to dismantle. I'm not sure, but you definitely can't sell it. You used to be able to sell it, and I assume selling this rune is also going to be disabled, the same as selling the old rune. Selling the old rune, if you did do that while it was enabled, was restored. But yeah, I guess dismantling this one, it will not be restored. So do be careful of that. Definitely don't dismantle a rune. If you get one of these, give it to one of your animals, because you can't dismantle stuff that animals have. The event lasts around a week, so it's currently the 12th of March, started on the 10th. We have, again, about a week left, so till the 18th. Right, let's go and have a look at these weapons myself then, shall I? I need to get some first. I don't think I have got any yet, but we do have a couple of these anniversary boxes. It is actually only 2. You can see, like I said, I've been busy the last couple days. I haven't had chance to get many of these crates. We'll use the ones that we've got. Fantastic, though. We got a rune. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Because now we can have a look at this rune during the video. I got a pretty poor rune, but of course it can be re-rolled. It can be re-rolled to 37%, but we can re-roll stat if we want as well. It says actually it has a sell value of 100, which is interesting. Maybe you can sell these runes. Still don't. Very obviously you should not sell the rune, but it's interesting that it's not disabled, because on the other rune it was. But anyway, there you go. I got a bit of a rubbish rune with almost the max weapon cost. And as you can see, 26% of physical resistance and 20% of magic resistance. It's got Kamikaze, which seems bad. I am going to be applying that to one of my animals. Who shall we apply it to? Pick some random special, probably. What about this one? Do you think this one had a weapon already? I'll doubt it. There we go. So he now has my rune. That means that when I try and dismantle stuff, it's still not sending the command. That's not what I want. When I try and dismantle stuff, this will not be dismantled. So you can see I've got all the weapons here I'm keeping. I'm going to just quickly flip through and make sure there's nothing that is now not held. Okay, good stuff. So that means this guy wasn't holding something before. So there we go. That's the first rune that I've got. And like I say, I can re-roll this by stat to get its quality up. We can then re-roll it by passive to get the passive up. Being as how the weapon doesn't seem outstanding, I'm actually not really planning on doing that right now. But what I'm also going to do is open a bunch of weapon crates. How many do I have? Weapon crates, 105. Alright, so the challenge is to try and get the other new weapon, and there we go. We got at least one. There's another one there. Oh, here we go. Are we getting a few of them? Good stuff. We've got a few of the other new weapons now. This is the command I want, actually. So let's have a look at one of these. Staff of Purity. Of course, we've already looked at the stats. So we already know what they are. But I feel like having a look at one of them. Here we go. So, uncommon. In fact, you know what? Let's find a better one, shall we? Let's find a better one. I saw I got an epic. Right, here we go. Here is my epic Staff of Purity. So, weapon cost 146. Remove a buff from an enemy. If successful, deal 55% of your magic to them. And if successful on the debuff, heal 88%. So this is a good stat. This is not a good stat. These were both 50 to 100%, if I remember correctly. And then this is a middling weapon cost because it was... actually, no, it's a good weapon cost. It was 125 to 200, wasn't it? So this is the bottom end of that. But yeah, there you go. And magic resistance is particularly good. Look at that. Legendary. Fantastic. But yeah, there we go. There's my Staff of Purity. I don't think I'm going to be applying that to one of my animals because it is only epic. And epic isn't too good. I can do better than that. And you will be able to get these in weapon crates forever. So don't worry too much about dismantling one of these. But yeah, they're not too hard to get, as you can see. It's basically exactly the same chance as the other weapons, I assume. In fact, if anything, it might even have buffed rates during the event. That would make a lot of sense. So that's cool. Yeah, like I say, initial thoughts, I think this is going to be a magic weapon. But we'll see what happens. I'm not planning on using any right now, because I like my team as it is, and I don't want to rely on enemies having buffs in order to do damage. That doesn't seem too great, but... I don't know, we'll see what happens, I suppose. And of course, if we start seeing a lot of people using the Rune of Celebration, then maybe removing buffs from people is pretty consistent. The last thing to talk about is there have been a couple of weapon stat changes. Now, we have here the full, table of the weapon stats before the update. It doesn't look like what an updated version of this has been made yet, but let me just tell you what the stat changes are. So also worth noting that the weapons that you had pre-update will have updated their stats, which I will show to you in a minute. So we have sword here, the mana cost, which used to be minimum 150, now has a minimum of 100, so that's a little bit cheaper now. We have the banner here, whose the buff here went 10 to 20%, now maxes out at 25. This middle one maxes out at 35, and the top one maxes out at 50. So that's a whole attack plus is a 10% extra bonus there to damage, which is pretty nice. Then we have the Flame Staff, which used to do 60 to 80% to a random enemy, now does max at 95. We have deals 20 to 40% of magic at end of turn, or will explode for 40 to 60%. This 60 is now an 80, so I believe this 40 is the same, but this 60 is now an 80. So when exploding, it will do 80% damage. So this means maximum this does 95% on the first hit, and then explodes for 85% later on. Of course, combining those together gets you 175% of your magic, which is quite a lot. Of course, that's only once every 2 turns, I guess, maximum. But yeah, pretty nice. So there you go. There's the stat changes. Like I say, we'll just go and have a look at those quickly. As you can see, weapons that I have, the sword particularly. Now this is a 94% sword that I had before the update. This weapon cost is now 106. You can see that last time I checked this sword, which was a good few months ago, we have its weapon cost here being 156. But post-update it is now 106. So the actual stat of the weapon has updated. Aside from that, I guess the only thing I should mention is that the battle timer has increased. So, you know, when you do your OwO battle, the maximum turn timer now, one turn, is now 25 instead of 20. So that's a nerf to stall in general. We talked about that one before because it was tested at 30 and 35. Ended up going to 25. If you want info on that, feel free to check out one of my OwO Bot videos recently, talking about that update. And like it says here, we've got the streaks frozen, which it will say at the bottom of your battle every time you do them. So that's worth mentioning as well. But yeah, I think other than that, we're all good. So I will end this video here. If you've figured anything out cool, feel free to let me know, and I can maybe talk about it in the next video. And I'll try and do a bit of research into what people think of these new weapons. People at the top, the big-brained individuals, I'll try and see what their opinion is. Then I can let you guys know if you should be using any of these new weapons. But anyway, yeah, I will leave this video here. Bye!